Yeah.
Who would have thought?
And this is a whole new segment of the
really?
industry.
I thought that someone said years ago you can eat Alpo if you wanted to, but it's not really healthy for you. But you could if you had to, and like in a pinch, I guess.
I mean, you can eat anything in a pinch. It's just what it does to you is the question.
And now,
Aye.
I'm the captain now.
coming to you from the K2 Studios in San Diego, California.
This sounds great. You sound amazing.
I always sound amazing.
It's the world famous
Everybody's hitting off like BFFs.
Kris and Kristine Show.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? How are you doing today? Thank you so much for listening, and I am Kris.
And I'm Kristine, and welcome to episode 141 of the Kris and Kristine Show.
Glorious and fantastic. How are you doing today, baby doll?
I'm doing good because I have my furry best buddy sitting right here with me, the one, the only, the fabulous Clover the Wonder Dog.
Oh, there she just got away. Now she's biting your ankles. Hey, Clover. Hey, Clover, what you doing, baby doll?
Yeah, you can hear her in here, but she literally is a little ankle biter. She runs around after me, and she likes to snap at my ankles. Snap or snip? Snip at my ankles. Well,
you mentioned she was furry earlier, but I have to say, not so much anymore.
She's not. So Clover got a haircut, more like a shave. And she is very short. Sorry, she's attacking my foot right now. It's so funny. But we have Clover in here because she's a big part of our episode this week.
Aren't you, Clover? Say hi to the microphone. Put it next to the microphone. Say hello. Oh, she's
licking the microphone. You can hear that. Clover the Wonder Pup. She is very short and not so hairy anymore because we got her summer cut in San Diego. I mean, we have a hot summer, but it really starts to warm up in like late July and August, and then it stays hot all the way until October. So we went ahead and got her summer cut, and they took her down pretty short, and her hair's starting to grow back a little bit, but she looks like a totally different dog.
She looks like a Chihuahua now. What's
no, she doesn't. She looks kind of like a lab or a golden retriever, but dark brown.
Yeah, I was thinking more like a miniature-sized Doberman Pinscher.
No, I don't know. Clover, what do you think you look like?
She doesn't care. She was actually looking in the mirror. She's like, "Who's this other person?"
All she's caring about is she's looking at my feet right now, thinking that those are her favorite shoe toy.
Oh, she loves shoes. Let me tell you.
Yeah, she does. But other than Clover getting a haircut, it's been a pretty eventful week over here in Wedding Land. We had a doubleheader this weekend.
No way.
A big, massive wedding weekend for one wedding that took 3 or 4 events over 3 days. And then a second wedding on Monday.
Wait a second. Did they get married multiple times during each event?
No. They're not our past podcast guests. They're not the ones that get married over and over again. But it's very typical, or not for everybody, but it's very typical nowadays for couples to have wedding weekend experiences, especially when they have so many different people flying in from out of state. They don't want to just be like, oh, just come in for this one thing. It's about, families melding and blending together. So they had a welcome party, a wedding rehearsal, a beach party, a rehearsal dinner, a cocktail party, and then the following day after those first 2 days was the actual wedding, which went, for the record, until 1 a.m., which means that Kris and I did not get home from what we call strike, which is tearing down the event, until 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, you're welcome, by the way.
Yeah. Well, you went home in between, and you actually got to hang out and do whatever you wanted.
It was whatever I wanted. I mean, I did take a nap, but
Yeah, exactly. You took a nap, and then you were like, oh, I'm so tired. I called you, and I was like, babe, you need to come. And you're like, I'm going to take a shower right now. I was like, no, I need you here in 45 minutes. You told me to tell you. And you were like, it's the only way I'm going to stay awake.
That is the only way I wake up, really. I mean,
Did you take a shower?
I did take a shower, and I woke up.
You did?
Yeah. Yes.
I thought you just came.
Oh, no, I took a shower.
Oh.
I did because I felt all gross and stinky, and I wanted to go up to the party and be like, "Who's a stinky guy?"
Oh,
at the party.
Well, you would have matched with me because I felt like a stink bomb.
Well, it's on you. See, I want to make sure I smelled great.
I walked 22,000 steps that day. That's more than our biggest day at Disney World.
Really?
Yep, it was more by a couple thousand steps more than our. That's perspective for how hard wedding planners work on wedding days. Is I did more work, more walking on a wedding day than all through Epcot.
It just reminded me when you were up there doing your thing, we got up there super early. Not really early. We got up there early enough. And then I realized as I'm home, relaxing, taking a nap, I'm going to go chill out and hang out here for a while, is that you are still up there doing your thing. And here it is getting close to 1 o'clock. And I'm like, Kristine's still up there doing her thing.
Yeah, I arrived at the venue at, what time did we get there? I think we started to load in around 10 a.m., but I was up at 7 a.m. that morning. And then I got back to bed at 3 a.m. So it was a super long day. But I will say that the day was completely flawless, that other than the stress of getting this gigantic shot wall into the hotel.
Let's talk about that
in just a second. Other than the stress of getting that giant shot wall into the hotel, into the resort, everything else went flawlessly. But I will say, trying to get this shot wall upstairs.
What is a shot wall?
Well, hold on. I thought that we were going to break up because we were so mad at each other.
Well, you were mad at me because I was trying to persuade you with common sense of this thing is dangerous and can kill somebody.
Ladies.
But whatever, it looks pretty.
No, I'm talking about the transporting it up the hill or up the walkway. And let's just talk about that for a second. You wanted to do common sense. I wasn't disagreeing. It was I had a task to do. But what a shot wall is, the bride wanted to have her, so it's specialty seating charts is a thing. Every wedding, if you have a place, people that they need to have assigned seating, you have to have a seating chart of some sort for them to know where they're going. So this bride, she saw on Pinterest the idea of a big wooden wall with ledges, little shelves on it, with shot glasses set on it that had little cocktail flags that had each person's name and table number. And so I worked for several months trying to find different vendors that could do it for her to rent it and deliver it. And it was so expensive. So she asked her dad to make it. And her dad made it for her. And it was pretty amazing. But it was 8 feet tall by 4 feet wide, wood, with wood shelves, with wood braces, which wood that is that sturdy is not light at all. I mean, how many pounds do you think it was?
The whole thing?
Over 200?
Yeah, with the legs or just the thing by itself?
I think the whole thing.
Yeah, over 200 pounds. Probably.
Over 200 pounds?
Yeah, 200 pounds. Yeah, close to it or whatever it was.
I mean, it was heavy. It was freaking heavy.
It was pretty heavy. And then the thing was, what I was freaking out about was I was getting upset about with Kristine, and Kristine and I had a little argument about was that when we finally got it upstairs, we finally started putting everything, all the screws in. We got everything set up with the legs. When the bride's father who made this thing, he designed it. It's great that he's got this whole tall wall standing straight up, and he's got these legs.
It wasn't straight up. It had a very slight tilt to it.
Well, it was.
But it's designed to be on a completely flat, paved surface.
But it had legs on the back side of it and the braces on the back side of it. So everything was great for the back side. And I just said, what about the front?
Right.
What if this thing falls forward? Because there's nothing keeping it from falling forward.
Yeah, there's not a kick plate or anything down at the bottom that was to keep it steady.
So I'm thinking, you put weight on this thing, and all the shot glasses are on this side of the wall, and I'm just barely touching the thing. I'm barely rocking it forward and show Kristine, look, this thing is so loose going forward, it's gonna fall on somebody and kill somebody.
Well, what ended up happening is when we moved it upstairs, the spot where we needed to put it, the back half of the wall where half of the leg braces was on this concrete, this polished concrete. But then the carpet started, and the carpet was a fraction of an inch lower. And so the heavy part of the wall settled down onto that carpet area, which means that the back part of the legs was no longer flush, leaving it off center and front heavy. And so fortunately, Kris was able to scavenge and find sandbags for us to be able to weight it down. But even then, we were nervous. Thankfully, the shot glasses were plastic, so the weight was not significant. But it was a huge hit.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was a huge hit. Everybody was photographing it. And but the problem is, okay, from a vendor's perspective, whenever you get ready to go and transport things, the loading in process for all of the products of whatever it is that you're delivering is always a challenge. And at a venue like this, they require you to go through the loading dock, and then you have to go down this long hallway to the service elevator. You go up the service elevator and you come out, and then you can go into the ballroom. But when I say a long hallway, a long hallway.
Well, the way the resort kind of sits, it's almost like a big like letter I or whatever. It's not.
Oh yeah, that's a good analogy of it.
So at the bottom of the I would be like the loading dock, and the part you got to be at is at the top of the I.
Yeah.
It's like one big long shot.
Yep.
So
that's exactly. So we loaded in at the bottom of the I, and then we had to walk that whole long walkway, and then go on the top of the I to the service elevator and up, and then out and around to get into the ballroom. And this shot wall, 8 feet long, 4 feet wide, over 200 pounds. We had one dolly to transport it. A dolly that, by the way, did not have wheels that would stay in one direction. So as we're moving it, they'd keep rotating. And it's like, here we are trying to keep, first of all, the wall is very front heavy because of all of the shelves. And so we're trying to figure out which way to put the pressure on the wall. So, you know, Kris, he's like hopping on either side. Like as we're moving it, he's like, hold on, let me go on this side. And I'm like
falling over on
right,
either side.
But here I am on the heaviest side. And he's like runs to the other side without telling me to try and hold the wall. But then like randomly leaves me with this big ass wall. Sorry, I'm cussing. My apologies. Beep. This big old wall. And he like, it's on wheels now. And he hops on the other side and it starts to fall on me. And then the dolly starts to slip from underneath it. And here I'm trying to grab it. And I'm like, Kris. And he's like, what? It's not that bad. I'm like, it's freaking heavy. Of course it's not that bad to you. And then you were like, oh, no, it's not that heavy. I'm like, but you're on the light side because it was the top of it that didn't have as many shelves. Needless to say, we had to keep our voices very low. And it became that argument of, Kris, I am trying to do this. We are in a public place.
And I'm telling you, this thing is unsafe. When someone's going to get killed, you got your insurance and figured out.
And he's doing this. This is the whole conversation. Somebody's going to die. It's not going to be on me. I'm not going to stand by. I want it in writing that you are not going to be liable. I was like, it's not my device.
But you are the wedding planner for the whole event. If something goes wrong with the wedding, you know they're going to blame you.
No, because the couple had insurance. They had to get the design approved. They got it approved by the venue. I was out of the loop on that. All I said is I would transport it, but I would take no responsibility for it. And so you did rescue us, save the day by finding all of those sandbags, and it was stable and it was perfect. But then at 1:00 in the morning, we had to disassemble it and figure out how to get it back down through the bowels of the hotel.
And luckily for Kristine over there, she's played the old damsel in distress and found 2 drunk guys. They were like macho. And hey, I didn't help us carry this thing down.
No, I didn't say that. I was.
Can you guys, please? Oh, please help me. Oh, please help me.
Sir. I'm a helpless little damsel. No, so I was sitting on the ground, and Kris, you had gone to get the dolly, I think. And so I was there trying to unscrew the pins from the legs, and they were drunk. These guys walk up, and they're like, hey, do you need some help? I was like, I actually really do. And they like got down on their knees, and they were like wedding guests, and they like started to unscrew everything. And they're like, we've got this. And then Kris, you came back up, and I was like, honey, these gentlemen have offered to help us with it. And you're like, okay.
Okay, but where to go?
And I said to them, I was like, it's a really long way. Like, you're going to have to take it down through an elevator, down through the bottom, all the way to the loading dock. And they're like, we got this.
You told them this? Because they said they looked very shocked when they saw the hallway.
Yeah.
They're like, wait, what?
And I told them, I was like, it's a really long way. It's really long and it's really heavy. And they're like, it's all right. We got you. And so they were like all carrying
the power of alcohol, let me tell you.
I know, right? And then they came back up and they had their shirts off at that point in time. And they're like, how are you guys going to do that without help? And I was like, exactly. We had to do that on the way in. I said, I thought my husband and I were going to get a divorce.
I thought we'd just leave it here. It's part of the venue now.
Yeah, it's now been gifted to them. But that was the only complication. Otherwise, it was a completely flawless day. Our bride and groom were so overjoyed with how gorgeous everything was. And if you want to check out how gorgeous everything was, you can check out my business Instagram, which is Kristine Smith Designs, and that's Kristine with a K. And I would love for you to hop on over, take a peek, comment on some of our photos from this past weekend, and let me know your thoughts.
Fantastic. But that was not the only wedding you did this weekend.
No, it was not. You are correct. So I also had a wedding on Monday, which is
So Sunday night you got done. First off, what
Monday
time?
morning. I got home and to bed at 3 a.m.
3 a.m. Monday morning, and then
Brighten up. I was brighten up. But I can't even say my words. I was up bright and early
So that was
at 7 a.m. on Monday.
So you had about 3 hours sleep,
4 hours. Yeah.
and then went back out to a second wedding.
Yeah. And that one is very sweet couple, but there was a lot of stuff that had taken. It was supposed to be a very simple coordination gig, but there was a lot of stuff that hadn't been done. And I had to put in a lot of extra work on it, more than what I had anticipated or charged for.
Oh no, it's the worst.
And then at the last minute, I just had to go and grab a bunch of stuff. I didn't even really make money on it because I had to.
No.
I know. But you know what? They're a sweet couple, and I helped their day hopefully be perfect. But, there's I love this business, and I love what I do, and I try to give a lot to my clients. And it's always a delicate balance of like charging enough and knowing my worth with balancing with what the services are that I provide. And that's definitely what happened here. But out of it, I got to do coordination at a venue I've really been wanting to work at, which is called Flora in San Diego.
Flora?
Flora, Flora, the venue in San Diego.
Okay, what is it? What is it? Restaurant or what?
So they took this I wouldn't even call it like a warehouse, but it's downtown on 7th Avenue. And they took this space and kind of cleared it all out. It has polished concrete floors, which are really beautiful and simple, kind of like almost like an urban kind of vibe to it. All the walls are painted white, but then it's a greenhouse inside. So it has hanging greenery chandeliers, preserved moss, preserved fern, and it's really hard to describe because it's so unique, but it was stunning by itself. But I actually did the florals and all of the decor as well as the coordination, and made a really good new industry connection, and I think a lifetime friend in one of the
That's so sweet.
Yeah, one of the planners / event manager for the venue. And she's the same age as me. I think we're 1 year difference. Her birthday is actually 10 days after mine.
No way.
Yeah. And we really kicked it off. And I was like, okay, this is somebody who gets what I do and the passion behind it, and also has like that organization mindset. Somebody that I could just, chat with and process through wedding stuff with. And it was just really fun.
That is amazing. Now, this person works at the venue or owns the venue?
No, she works at the venue. Yeah, she's the venue manager. And so she does really great work over there. And yeah, so it was a busy day, but as opposed to the Sunday wedding, which didn't get done until 1, this other wedding was a pretty low-key affair, 50 guests, and a lot of them were like kids or families. And so it started at 4:30 with a ceremony, and then the couple doesn't drink, and so they had a mocktail hour with appetizers, and that went quicker. And so we actually cut it like short by 15 minutes, and everything moved up on the agenda. So they ended up deciding to do their grand exit at 8:45 p.m. And then after that, pretty much everybody left. And so by 9:30, we were cleaning everything up. And by 10:15, I was on my way home.
No way. Now, what time does weddings normally get over? Like an evening wedding, I guess.
Like they'll go till 10.
10-ish?
Or 10 to midnight. So it just depends.
It all depends on the venue, I would think. Because some
Exactly.
venues have like, everybody's going to be out here by 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock or whatever.
Yeah, 10 o'clock is typically the earliest because of like noise ordinance rules.
Right.
But it'll be like between 10 and midnight is the standard. But the other one that I did, ending at 1 is really late.
Right. I was kind of wondering about that one because it's in Encinitas. It's kind of a richy, kind of like a Peach City area.
Right.
Where you would think that like an HOA would be like over $1,000 a month, and they'd have like lights out by 9 and no noise past 10.
But the difference is they're perched up on this bluff above a beach. So there are no neighbors that are right nearby.
Which is kind of nuts.
Yeah. And they're elevated. And so they were supposed to close the doors to the balcony by like midnight. But they ended up keeping them open until 1. And oh gosh, they partied hard all the way through. But it was spectacular.
It was amazing. That place looks amazing. That place to stay at looks great.
Yeah,
What's it called?
It's called the Alila Maria Resort in Encinitas, and it's a Hyatt property. And I will give a huge shout out to the staff at the Alila Maria because they were phenomenal. The food was amazing. The service was top notch. And the same for my event on Monday. It was at Flora, the venue, and then the catering was Ranch Catering, which is located at Marina Village in San Diego. So if you are planning an event in or around San Diego, definitely reach out to one of those companies because they were absolutely phenomenal.
Top notch.
Yes.
Top dog, just like this dog right here,
Yeah.
Clover Bear.
Well, so now I've shared everything that happened this weekend, Kris. You, as the outside observer and logistics manager, got to see me.
Oh, thank you for my title, by the way.
Got to see me in full wedding mode back to back. What's your perspective of me after seeing that whole weekend?
You are amazing. You're amazing to watch, and I am so inspired by everything you do that I want to be part of it. I want to just be there with you. That's why I like being, like I remember I was telling you on the day we did that one wedding on Sunday. It was exhausting, but I was like, you know what? We really do enjoy doing this together. It's like it's like a really fun thing. I know the podcast is fun too, but this is it's fun because we're physically doing stuff like out there in the world, mingling with new people and kind of like meeting new things. And you're bossing me around because you like doing that. And I take your orders and I'm moving things around for you. And
I know sometimes you're like, well, why don't we do it this way? And I'm like, today I'm the boss of the business, and I need you to just like. And I hate to be like that, but it's like on wedding days, we don't second guess how to do it. It's like, okay, Kristine's going to direct and I'm just going to do it.
Exactly. You know, like
you got to learn that, dude.
And I was thinking about my truck too the other day. I was like, yeah, I don't drive my truck as much, but then I drove like 1,000 miles over the weekend, you know, moving back and forth.
It wasn't 1,000 miles over the weekend.
Whatever it was a lot, you know.
It was 100.
No, it was more than that.
All right.
Yeah, I put gas in like 3 times. My goodness.
No, you put it in twice and then you used the gas money that I gave you for the third time and spent it on other stuff, you goofball.
Well, the kids need in and out, you know.
Yeah.
You know how it goes.
Yeah. Well, how was your week and your weekend? I've dominated most of this conversation.
Well, this week has been fun helping you out, of course. You know, I always love helping you out and doing the wedding stuff. You know, I wish I could do it with you full time on the wedding adventures.
Stop saying that. You've got to have a job, dude.
I know.
Stop being a mooch.
I'm not a mooch. I just want to help.
You're a money mooch.
Helpers help. You know what I'm saying? I'm a helpful person. Like little Clover here. Aren't you a Clover Bear?
Yes, she's so excited that we actually got a few samples of this amazing dog food that is from this wonderful entrepreneur who's really revolutionizing the world of pet food in the industry. And she was so wonderful to join us and talk to us about her journey. And she's going to be back with us right after this. Are you in the middle of wedding planning and feeling overwhelmed? There's no need to fret, my friend. Kristine Smith Designs is here to rescue you. Offering wedding planning, coordination, and wedding floral design services, let us help relieve your stress and make your wedding day dreams a reality. Visit us at KristineSmithDesigns.com. That's KRISTINE SmithDesigns.com and request a free consultation. You'll be so glad you did. And welcome back, everybody. Today we have another fantastic VIP guest. She is going to chat with us about keeping our furry friends healthy and happy. Welcome to the show, Hanna Mandelbaum.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here.
Oh, Hanna, how you doing today? How's your day going?
Good. It's been a long, strange Monday. Went for a jog a little bit earlier today. Did some handstands.
While you're jogging? How do you do that?
Not at the same time.
That would be a new talent that I would have loved to seen, but I need to know the story. Is the handstands like a strength building thing, or is it you just randomly like to do handstands?
It's a thing I'm working on right now as my pandemic fitness project. I used to be an aerialist and do trapeze.
No way.
And yeah.
You ran away with the circus? Really so you grew up and ran away with the circus, right?
I did not grow up and run away with the circus. I grew up, went to college, moved to Brooklyn, became a dog walker, and then discovered circus. So
how'd that process happen? Going from dog walking to join the circus? Well, I guess
trapeze, not necessarily.
One day you were walking on one of those railings next to the subway, and you're like, I can do this for real, right?
No, not at all. Actually, it's sort of related to my dog walking.
Oh.
I used to walk this dog in a neighborhood called Park Slope, and the person's house was around the corner from a store. And it was this cute little boutique with all these local designers. And I used to go in and kind of hang out there between clients sometimes. And I befriended one of the employees who would work behind the register. And one day I saw her sewing over these ropes, this fabric over this length of rope. And it was, what's that? Oh, that's my trapeze. And I was instantly fascinated. I was like,
wow.
Oh, tell me about that. And what she did was, when you think of trapeze, there's sort of the swinging trapeze, and this wasn't that. This is what was called static trapeze, which is more like what you'll see at Cirque du Soleil. So I was instantly fascinated, but had my dog walking career, wasn't able to do anything. Like, it couldn't afford to take trapeze lessons. But one day I get a call from her name was Cecilia, that she was moving to my neighborhood and that she had bunnies, and how much would I charge for watching her bunnies because she travels a lot. I thought about it for about 2 seconds and told her that I would barter for trapeze lessons.
That's fun. Bunnies for trapeze. Hey, I like that.
Yes.
How hard is it to watch bunnies? Though? You don't walk them.
Not hard at all. They don't do a whole lot.
Kris, did you just say you don't walk bunnies?
Do you walk bunnies? I don't know. Do you walk them?
You do not walk bunnies.
Okay.
You mostly sit there while they hop around and feed them greens.
And they got little raisins that come out of them, I heard.
Okay. TMI.
Actually, when you're in the pet industry, there's a lot of discussion of poop.
Oh, see? There you go.
So you bartered for trapeze lessons. Now, when you're taking lessons, do people have trapeze? I don't even know what they're called, like trapeze swings in their house, or do they have them at a facility that you have to go to?
Well, both. And I actually had this really interesting situation where when I took my lessons, she had her trapeze rigged at this sewing studio community space that the store she was working at owned. But I also lived in a loft building at the time, in this very artsy loft building, and had a trapeze set up in my apartment.
No way.
That sounds really fun. I can imagine that our kids would have a blast with that. Now, when you have a trapeze hanging in your loft apartment, did you have to have like the crash pads below it, or were you?
No, you get the blankets or the pillows like the kids do.
I did have mats that I used because that's the responsible and safe thing to do.
Oh,
right.
Yeah. Kris is like, I wouldn't do that.
I know.
He's like my renegade.
Hey, you got me down there, right? You got me. Remember, get off your phone. You're watching me, right? Don't watch me. Don't watch your phone. I'm going to fall.
So with the trapeze, is that something that you just did as a hobby, or did you pursue it in performing arts in some way?
I did some performing arts. I'd say I'd call myself semi-pro. So I did do some local Brooklyn cabaret shows. I dangled in the air at warehouse parties.
So
Actually,
fun.
one time I did one where Moby was DJing.
So
that was
cool.
You're at a
fun.
rave doing trapeze work. Awesome.
No, I've
Yes.
seen that on like movies where they'll have the aerialists up and they don't, well, I don't know the different terms, so I'm sorry if I misspeak, but they look like ribbons, not like the swing type of trapezes like I saw on, was it like The Greatest Showman? But I've seen like the ribbons or the sashes that people use. Is that something you do?
Those are aerial silks. That is not an apparatus that I do. There are lots of apparatuses, but aerial silks or tissue, they're called sometimes. And that's a very popular one at all kinds of events and shows. And
Yeah, it looks great.
A lot of
It's
people start out
flowing
with that.
like a angel through the air, you know? Looks great.
Yeah.
So your trapeze, is it, first of all, do you still do that?
I've been pretty bad about it lately. We did buy an outdoor aerial rig when we left the city for the pandemic, but I haven't really used it that much because there's a lot of bugs up here. It's either too hot or too cold.
Oh, yeah. I guess like flying through the air on a trapeze, if you had your mouth open and there's bugs, that'd probably be a recipe for gagging.
Well, it's no different
Or
than
just
riding a
getting
bicycle.
bit.
Oh, getting bit?
Yeah, mosquitoes.
Ooh.
That sounds like fun.
Oh, speaking of which, we didn't ask you, what area of the country do you live in?
Oh, I live in New York State in the Catskills, which is a beautiful ancient mountain range 90 miles north of New York City.
So when people say you're from New York, or you say you're from New York, people always assume you're from the city, usually.
Yeah, they always assume that. I I grew up upstate, up very close to where I am now. And I lived in New York City for about 20 years. But yes, if you are from New York, you are from the city. The rest of this very large state doesn't even exist.
Right. I didn't know. I forgot all about the rest of the state of New York City. I thought New York was the city and that was all you get. It's almost like California, too. When people say you're from California, they just assume you live on the beach or next to Hollywood or
Very
something.
true. Now, the Catskills, how often do you get asked when you tell people that if you've seen the set of Dirty Dancing?
Oh, all the time.
Is that a movie you've seen, Kris? I think you said you've never even watched that.
I've
Have
seen
you?
parts of it. I kind of get the idea about it.
Blasphemy.
But I don't think I've ever
How
sat
can you not
there.
have seen it?
I know,
I've
right?
seen parts of it. Like I said, when a commercial break comes, I leave.
Oh, okay. You're watching it with me tonight. It's settled.
It's so good. You have to watch it.
It's so good, Kris.
Nobody's putting baby in the corner.
Do you even know what that comes from?
Yes, there's a baby. It was in the corner.
Well, we really appreciate you being on the show with us today, Hanna, and we're really interested in learning more about your fantastic business. So, first of all, you mentioned dog walking and trapeze, but now you are in the world of pet food. What was that transition like?
A very abrupt one. So this is a bit of a story.
Oh, well, we're ready
have
to
you a
hear
little
it. We love
time?
stories.
So once upon a time in 2009, I was working as a dog walker, trying to support myself as an artist and budding trapeze aerialist. And one of my dog walking clients was this older woman. Her name was Mia, and she herself was a dog walker, but also a small business owner. She had moved from Tribeca in Manhattan to my neighborhood, and she had what I like to call an underground dog food company.
What?
Okay, that sounds shady, like an underground brothel or maybe a one of those speakeasies. Maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Is that what it's like?
Well, there was stuff that was a little shady about it. So basically what happened, how she got started in this is she lived in Tribeca during 9/11. And like many people in the neighborhood, she didn't really leave after the planes hit and there was all this rubble in the neighborhood. Even though everyone was supposed to evacuate, there were all these toxins in the air. But there were these diehard holdouts, and she was one of them. And what happened was not that long after, her dog was diagnosed with cancer.
Oh, no.
A lot of the dogs got, a lot of people now are starting to have these cancer diagnoses that they think are, So what happened was it happened to the dogs a lot faster. They're smaller animals.
Yeah, I would think so, yeah.
So her dog was given a 6-month prognosis.
Oh,
And like many of us dog people, her dog was her everything. So she did a lot of research to see what she could do to help support him and help his body fight the cancer. And she came to cooking, and she started cooking for her dog and researching and working with vets. And her dog actually ended up living another 6 years.
Oh,
That's good.
wow.
Now, after they said the dog wouldn't make it this year, lived 6 years beyond that.
He lived 6 years beyond his original prognosis.
Yeah.
And did they credit that to nutrition, or was it like the doctors couldn't explain it?
I mean, listen, food is medicine, but at the end of the day, you can never say this is the thing, But she certainly credited it to the nutritional aspect of it, and so did a lot of the neighbors. And she started cooking for the neighborhood and built this little business that she scaled to the point where she was working with the USDA incubator kitchen and having this food made in 1,000-pound runs. And she had 2 stores, 2 retail establishments in New York that she was working with. And how I became involved in this is she moved to my neighborhood after she got priced out of Tribeca, because that's what happened. It just gentrified to this point where no one could afford to live there.
Oh, wow. That's horrible. It's like everywhere now.
Oh, all of New York City is like this. I moved upstate. I still have my apartment there, but I'm never going back. And she got priced out of the neighborhood, moved to my neighborhood, And I was connected with her because she was still boarding people's dogs. So at any given time, she'd have 4 or 5 of other people's dogs at her house. And she caught pneumonia over the Christmas break.
Oh,
A
wow.
mutual friend introduced us, and I came in to like walk these 5 dogs 3 times a day that she was taking care of. And
Oh,
I got
wow.
paid to do this. I made bank. But
For
after
walking the dogs?
For walking the dog. Oh, dog walkers make a ton of money.
Okay,
I made more money
I had
as
no
a dog
idea.
walker than I do now.
Okay. How much is it per dog, or how does it work? Per hour, or how do you do it?
So basically, and like I was doing this during the golden years of dog walking
Ooh.
before you had all these stupid tech company apps and it got super competitive and everyone's on Instagram.
Right.
So you charge per dog for the length of the walk. Just like I would walk around and pick up cash at the end of the week. So
Well, does it per size of dog, or how does it work?
everyone has their own parameters. I would charge more for puppies. I would charge more for dogs that had aggressive tendencies. I would charge more to run a dog as opposed to walk. So you can kind of...
That's an option? I had no idea.
It depends on who you're working with. Every pet care professional has their own rates and their own services that they offer. I also did training. So I would do walk-in trains and I'd charge for that. And boarding was actually amazing. So if you have someone's dog stay over your house, you could charge up to $100 a night for that.
What's the
no
point
problem.
of having a dog being boarded at someone else's house? Isn't it your dog? I don't get it.
Well, if you're going on vacation.
Oh, okay. You didn't say that. I meant like forever. Like, hey, I have a dog, but it stays at somebody else's house. It's like that.
Oh, no. It's for when you're traveling.
Oh.
Oh, like a pet stay hotel.
Yeah, exactly. If you are traveling and you want to make sure your dog has companionship, gets fed on a regular schedule, you don't want to leave your dog alone overnight, there are 2 options. You can either send them to a boarding facility like a kennel, or you can work more personally with someone. And that's what I was doing at the time when I met Mia. I was also like her, having dogs stay over at my house, or sometimes I'd stay at other people's houses. It just kind of depended.
Okay. Well, so you took over this dog food business then, and so
It's the story's way longer than that.
Okay.
So anyway, I got called in when Mia was sick. She had pneumonia. So I was walking her dogs that she was taking care of in addition to her own dog for about a week, and she slowly recovered. But she kept me on as a dog walker. So even though she was perfectly capable of taking her dog out, she'd have me come over once a day to spend some time with her dog. And I think to spend time with her because she was a little older.
Right, yeah.
She seemed lonely. So we developed a friendship. After several months of this, one day I get a call from her, and I thought it was because I overslept and was late to walk her dog, but she was actually in the middle of having a stroke.
Oh, no.
Yeah, she called me. I think I'm having a stroke. And her voice was slurred. You could tell something was wrong. And I'm like, did you call 911? No. Okay, call 911. I'm coming over.
How far away were you, like distant-wise?
From her when this happened?
Yeah.
I was staying in a different neighborhood, so it's probably about 15 minutes when it happened. Normally, I was a 2-minute walk from her house.
Okay.
Yeah. So I ran over to her place. I got there before the ambulance did. The ambulance took her to the hospital, and later I sort of got sucked into the position of being the person taking care of everything. But it turned out the stroke was a minor stroke. She was supposed to return to her normal life after about 6 weeks of rehab. But in the meantime, her animals, her apartment, her bills all needed to be taken care of, and also the dog food business. So I was holding a lot in terms of how do I deal with managing all of this. My another dog walking client of mine at the time, we were close, and I told him about what was happening, and he actually was like, I think I know a situation that you can help with. It turns out my now business partner, Allison, who's an amazing human being, had just come back to New York temporarily because her building had been sold. She needed to pack up her apartment. But I was also her dog walker, just on a more intermittent basis. And she was a health supportive personal chef. So we were sort of introduced in the capacity of helping Mia run this business and so, Allison would sublet the apartment, and we would take care of everything until Mia was up and running again and ready to return and get back to her normal life. So that was the plan. And of course, that's not how the plan worked out. Pretty much as soon as Allison got back from a trip she'd been on and was ready to start with the sublet, we got another call from the hospital that Mia had had 2 more strokes.
No.
And was paralyzed.
That's horrible.
It was horrible. I mean, every time I tell this story a lot, but every time I tell it, it's a little bit traumatic.
Yeah. Oh, I bet. Yeah.
But she was paralyzed. She was unable to speak or swallow. But there was still hope that she maybe would get better. But it went from being this discrete 6-week situation to this very open-ended question mark. But we did everything we could. We were delivering dog food around, making dog food, doing, trying to get a real understanding of what was happening here with her business. And we realized that there was a lot about it that wasn't necessarily on the up and up, just in terms of things like taxes and paperwork and registering with the state and all of the things that you need to do to legally sell dog food. So,
is there a lot of rules involved with dog food versus people food? I would think less because it's not human consumption, right?
Yeah, it's less than you'd think. It's a little bit. It's weird because it's different in every state. There is some federal oversight, but very little. It's very piecemeal and strange. There are certain labeling standards that you have to abide by. There are nutritional profiles that you need to hit. You're not supposed to poison any dogs, but it happens a lot.
What?
You're not supposed to have foodborne pathogens, but it happens a lot.
Oh, I bet it does.
Yeah. So there's just there are and there aren't, if that makes sense. There are rules, but there's no oversight.
Now, big question I have about dog food is how many horses had to give their lives up to be in the dog food?
What?
I don't want to know the answer to that these days. Hopefully none. Although some of the
like
things,
a little running joke that the horse went to the dog food factory after you put him down.
No, the glue factory, honey.
Oh.
Well, actually, I mean a little bit of both.
Okay.
Because what happens when animals, those farm animals and are euthanized for whatever reason. Parts of them can be used to make gelatin, but it's sort of like what happens to the rest of them. And
okay.
Oh, this is going down a dark alley.
Yeah, let's shift back. Okay, so
I'm going to go back to my story, which
I'm so
I think
sorry.
ends a little bit better, but go to a dark place. So what happened is we sort of realized that there was a lot wrong with this company, but there was also so much right with the concept. Allison's dog Connor was 6, had never eaten a bad meal in his life. He was raw fed, he was healthy, but he was a little, he's starting to put on the weight. He was a 6-year-old and a little chubby. Anyway, he went on this food, what is now Evermore, and he slimmed down. His coat got so glistening, and back to the poop. His poop, which has always been a little bit not perfect, suddenly was just kind of like so firm and easy to pick up, what every dog owner wants. So he was thriving, and we realized that this was something that needed to be in the world, even though Mia was clearly incapable at this point of doing it. She was paralyzed and really in a really horrible situation. So we went to her and explained where we were at with it, that we wanted to carry on with what she'd started and to do it correctly. And we, very much with her blessing, sort of started over. We started a new company. We did the research that we needed to do, crossed our T's, dotted our I's, and that's how Evermore itself got started.
So it kind of branched out from her company. You guys kind of like grew it out of that to create something totally new, but same a little bit?
I'd say like she was the seed.
Okay, right. Yeah, the seed to what you have today.
She was the seed, and at this point, we're the tree. But so within a few months of that, we had actually gotten the food into about 30 stores.
Nice.
Yeah, and scaled production a little bit more. And not long after, she actually passed away.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It was,
Gosh.
yeah. So it's a rough story.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, I think it's kind of beautiful that sort of we were in the right place at the right time. And first of all, I had sort of stepped into the role of being her daughter. Like, there was no one else who was going to deal with all the nursing homes and, basically take care of her for the end of her life. And I don't think anyone else would have carried on with her vision for the food. So it was just one of these weird synchronistic things. And Allison and I too, we were both at points in our lives. We were just so open to whatever was going to happen. I was getting bored with dog walking, and she literally thought she was going to move to California and was just in New York for a little while.
Okay. So is the recipe for the dog food today this original one?
Oh, not at all.
Okay. So what did you improve upon it?
So not only did we change out the recipe, but we also changed a lot about the ingredient sourcing. So the first thing that we did, this is a little nerdy. There's these certain nutrient profiles that you have to hit in dog food. And what we realized through our initial laboratory testing was that it wasn't quite where it needed to be in terms of things like calcium and phosphorus and the balance of different minerals and hitting certain vitamins. So our first order of business was to just kind of research getting that balance right. And then there was changing the ingredients, which we didn't realize we had to do until we submitted to New York State for labels. So
Really?
Yeah. And I mean, this is where pet food law gets a little stupid. So the original iteration of the recipe had burdock, nettle, and rose hips in it.
Like all you do, right? I mean, come on now.
Yeah, those are really common ingredients. So
where do you find those?
Anyway,
I don't think I saw them in the store.
Yeah, they're all they're all things that are medicinal plants.
Okay.
Burdock is a staple of macrobiotic cooking. Nettle has these sort of anti-allergenic properties. Anyway, they're sort of very nutraceutical foods, but they are not defined by AAFCO, which is the American Association of Feed Control Officials.
Oh.
And what that is they are a non-government body that sets these standards that are then adopted by government bodies as the sort of the nutritional and ingredient requirements for pet food.
Okay, that's a mouthful. But is it okay for human consumption or no?
Well, our food is okay for human consumption. Most pet food, if you told me to eat it, you don't need to go near it.
Right, but
so
does it have to pass a certain level to where it could be for human consumption?
So human grade is actually a very new concept in pet food, and we were sort of towards the early side of that movement. And basically, for food to be considered human grade, every ingredient in the food needs to be fit for human consumption. The entire production process needs to happen in a facility that meets the standards for human food consumption. In our case, it's a USDA kitchen. And then every aspect of transport needs to meet the standards for human food consumption.
No way.
So theoretically, but we can't be we still have to be labeled not for human consumption, or it doesn't say that on our boxes. But the idea is our food can't be considered for human consumption, but it has to go through the exact same processes and standards of food for human consumption.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
And this is a whole new segment of the industry. Yeah.
I thought that someone said years ago you can eat Alpo if you wanted to, but it's not really healthy for you, but you could if you had to in like a pinch, I guess.
I mean, you can eat anything in a pinch. It's just what it does to you is the question.
Right. So, okay.
So one of the things that I was wondering about, Hanna, is, and I think I might have missed this, your dog food that you create, is it consumed by dogs in a dry, like a pebble or crunchy format? Or is it like one of those newer brands that you see where they fresh ship, like, I don't even know how you explain it, but it's like a
tuna can?
No, it's like they're in these like plastic bags, kind of like flat bags, but they're like a fresh refrigerated food?
So those newer brands that you see that ship fresh, refrigerated, frozen food, those foods are like us.
Okay.
So you're
we're
similar
sort
to
of
that.
we're sort of one of the OGs in the category.
Look at you.
A lot of these companies came out much later than we did.
Okay.
Yeah, so we were one of the original foods in that what is now called a gently cooked or fresh category. We started doing this in 2009. A lot of these companies like this are just cropping up today. They're everywhere. So it used to get my hackles up, but now I'm actually appreciating the fact that there is a broader category because there's broader category awareness.
Now, do you guys use the term organic at all in any of your products?
So we use all of our produce is certified organic ingredients. And this is going to get nerdy again. So the only time you can have an adjective in the ingredient list on your label is if something is certified organic. You can say organic.
Right.
So all of our produce is organic. All of our, the oats and barley that we use in some of our formulas is organic. Basically, almost everything besides the meat is certified organic. Now, the meat is not certified organic, but according to the popular conception of what organic is, it technically is. And where we really focus our energy on the meat and really our sourcing in general is on humane sourcing. We really, really, really care about animal welfare.
So what kind of meat product does go into your products? Like what animals?
So
or whatever?
we have four proteins that we are using. We use beef, we use lamb, we use chicken, and we use turkey. And actually, other than our lamb from New Zealand, all of our proteins are from California.
Look
where
at
you guys
that.
are. Yeah.
Farming out here. Now, which ones
Yeah.
do the dogs prefer? Does it make a difference?
It's entirely up to the individual.
You haven't seen a spike in one versus another? Like, whoa, dogs love turkey or something.
There's no generalizing. It's the same as us. We all have our preferences.
Right. I just was wondering with the dog food if one was a hot seller versus another,
So definitely our beef is currently our best seller, but it's very close, and depending every month sometimes it'll be a little bit different, but our grass-fed beef from the Central Valley is our
Well, that's where
is our
Kristine's
best
from.
I am from the Central Valley of California.
Look at that.
Farm country. My
yeah.
homeland. So one of the things that I was wondering about as I was looking through your website and just kind of learning more about the dog food that you create, it led me back to a conversation that I had with our dog's veterinarian. So we have a puppy. She is about 18 months old. And as she was going through some of her first checkups during that first year of life, about 5 or 6 months in, I was talking with my doctor, my doggy doctor, about the type of food that we were feeding Clover, our baby. And we were looking at the ingredients list, and she said, as much as possible, you should really consider making her be on a grain-free diet. And I didn't understand what that was all about, but I've heard things about grains and cornmeal and those types of items not being as gentle for dogs. But can you teach us a little bit about the grain-free dog food movement?
Sure. And we do have minimally grain inclusive and grain-free formulas. So basically, and there's a couple of schools of thoughts on this, like the very conventional veterinary kind of big pet school of thought is that grains are totally fine. Dogs can digest grains. And the more holistic end of the spectrum is that your dog is a carnivore. They evolved from wolves. They should keep their carbohydrates to a minimum. Now, dogs definitely thrive on more carnivorous diets. So that is 100% for sure. They can digest grain. That's actually one of the things that separates them from wolves, is they did evolve. They did evolve more of the ability, the gene for amylase production. Amylase is responsible for breaking down carbohydrates.
Mm-hmm.
Dogs have 28 times more of that than wolves.
Oh, wow.
So
Ooh, check
they
that out.
can digest carbohydrates. That doesn't mean that they should. So
Like beer and stuff like that, right? Don't feed your dog beer.
I was just gonna say my dog can also digest newspaper, but probably not the best thing.
I mean dogs, they're scavengers.
Yeah.
So your dog is hardwired to go after whatever they can find.
Your slippers.
You know?
Yeah, I get that one. Yeah.
But really the best thing for them is a diet that's predominantly meat, and honestly a diet that's fresh. If you think about it, ultra processed food is not good for you or me.
Right.
So why would it be good for our dogs?
Definitely.
What about home cooked meal? Like, say you had leftover steak for dinner. Is it okay to feed your dog that?
Yes, with some caveats.
Okay.
So you don't want to give your dog anything heavily seasoned.
Oh, okay. No.
So if you do, if you do a really spicy dry rub,
yeah.
maybe wipe that off.
Oh, okay.
or cut it off. You don't want to focus on giving them just the fatty bits.
But they love that so much. Yeah, that's their
Just a
favorite
little.
part.
Don't overdo. If it's something that you're cutting off the steak and like throwing away because it's too much fat, you don't want to give that to your dog.
Don't feed it to your puppy.
Yeah, and I think no cooked bones.
Why not?
So
what's the difference?
cooked bones become brittle.
Oh,
and
they
can
shatter.
splinter.
Like I heard
Yeah,
chicken,
they shatter,
chicken bones.
and
Don't give your dog chicken bones because they can break
Don't
off.
give your dog chicken bones. I mean, actually, you can give your dog raw chicken bones, but it depends on the size. There's a lot of factors here. I'm not going to get into the ins and outs of raw bones, but in terms of cooked bones, those are just a definite no. They can shatter. They can cause all kinds of internal damage and occasionally death.
Oh man.
I did not realize how just endemic chicken bones were until I became a dog walker.
Yeah, I've always heard about that. The chicken bones were always bad for dogs. But what are the bones you do give your dogs? I see people give your dog a bone. What kind of bones would be good for a dog?
Raw meaty bones. So basically, and this is a whole foundation of the whole raw feeding movement is that
Another movement, huh?
yeah, there's so many food movements, so
Yeah.
much. People have their dogma when it comes to food.
Yeah.
No pun intended. There's
No pun intended. I'm all about the puns. So yeah, raw bones are a great way to clean your dog's teeth.
No way.
Yeah. So you know how a lot of people will say, "Oh, your dog needs kibble because kibble cleans their teeth."
I had no idea. I thought Colgate did that, but okay.
Yeah, there's this whole myth that kibble cleans your dog's teeth, and which is absolutely not true. If you or I ate, I think the closest thing to kibble I can think of is grape nuts.
I was gonna say grape nuts. Yeah.
Yeah, if you and I ate that every day and didn't brush and didn't floss, like how clean do you think our teeth would be?
Don't get close to me. Back off, all right? Your breath is killing me here.
But yes, brushing your teeth, actually manually brushing your dog's teeth is probably the best way to get them clean.
Yeah.
A lot of owners are not up for that, and a lot of dogs don't love it. So giving them something to chew on, chewing is a natural behavior for them. It keeps them busy. It keeps them mentally occupied. It keeps them out of trouble, but it also cleans their teeth.
Nice.
Well, this has been super informative, and I've just been thinking about my puppy Clover and the food that I feed her, and maybe we need to start thinking about a switch. Now, I was wondering, because I was skimming through your website, and it looks like you sell the dog food in 1 pound packages. So does it need to be refrigerated?
Yes. So it comes frozen. And
Frozen, huh?
frozen, you could probably store it for years. It's because it's vacuum sealed as well. We cook
Wow.
it sous vide.
Nice.
Yeah. So I mean, we date it 18 months out, but I'm not even going to tell you how I found some stuff in the back of my freezer that was way past date that I fed my dog. But anyway, you store it frozen, and then once you thaw it down, it's good in the fridge for about 5 days. What you would consider safe for your own consumption.
Nice.
That's probably what I would consider for your dog.
Do you have to warm it up at all?
You don't need to warm it up. Unless if your dog is really picky. So sometimes the dog is really picky and prefers it heated up, but most dogs just gobble at fridge temperature.
But not freezer temperature. Don't give an ice cube of dog food, right?
My dog, she was a husky mix, and actually sometimes she really liked chomping on it frozen.
No way.
But I don't necessarily. Yeah, the Arctic dogs sometimes kind of like that, but I don't recommend that as a general practice.
Now, your food, when you actually do package it, do you guys put like a born on date or expiration date on the package at all?
Yeah, so there is a date. So as I mentioned before, it's sous vide. So it goes into a pouch and then it's steamed at low temperatures up to 165 degrees for the poultry and 159 for the red meat. And anyway, on those pouches, the date is printed. It's the date that it was created.
Okay,
is
so
on the pouches.
okay, that's good. So you kind of idea when it was actually put in the bag. Now, based on that, do you have kind of an expiration date like you do with human food at all?
Yeah, we date it 18 months out.
Okay, 18 months from when you guys packaged it. Okay.
Oh, actually, I misspoke.
Okay.
What we print on the bag is actually the expiration date.
Got it. Okay.
But if you subtract 18 months, that's when it was made.
Okay. Well, okay.
That clarifies. So have you
Yes.
ever run into anybody that didn't want to invest in fresher or freezer type of food for their dog because they don't have the space? And if so, how would you refute that?
Honestly, it's not so much about the space for people. I think the biggest barrier for people has been budget.
Oh.
Food like that's fresher food is a lot that uses real ingredients, especially a food like ours that uses the best quality ingredients out there, like our 100% grass-fed beef from regenerative ranches. That doesn't come at elbow prices. So I think that's been the biggest barrier. And for that, we've always said, this doesn't have to be a dog's complete diet. A little bit of fresh food is better than no fresh food. And even if it's not our food, if you can add some fresh meat, some fresh antioxidant-rich vegetables to your dog's diet, that's going to do so much for them. Because at the end of the day, we just want there to be more healthier dogs.
Would it be wise to kind of like slowly, if you're going to switch cold turkey, I guess, from, say, Alpo generic to your stuff, would it be wise to slowly kind of weed it into their food?
Oh, absolutely. You definitely want to transition.
Okay.
You don't want to just be like, okay, here's the new food. I mean, there are some dogs who can handle that. Definitely,
Okay.
there are dogs that have cast iron stomachs.
Okay.
But for most dogs, and what we generally recommend is that it is like this slow transitional process, and then it's a
Okay.
process that involves feedback. So you see how your dog is handling it. Once again, back to the poop.
Right. Or other side too. It's something to get.
Or other side, yeah. I mean, if it's coming up the front, that's definitely not a good thing.
What is it? Where can you find your product at? What stores are you guys in, and how can we get out here?
Sure, absolutely. So we primarily sell our products online, and you could find that on our website, evermorepetfood.com, evermorepetfood.com. Or we do actually also work with select retailers. We actually have more in California than a lot of other places. So on our website, there is a stores option on our drop down, and you can check out the store locator to see if there is anywhere nearby.
Are they their own store entity, or is it like inside like a PetSmart or something like that?
Oh, no. We only work with independent retail.
Oh, okay. Awesome, fantastic. And what does it cost for are there different states, shipping costs? What does it usually cost to order the food?
So if you subscribe, which involves ordering like a large case, which is 16 pounds on whatever basis you want, and up for sizes, then it starts at around $190 for those 16 pounds. There is a price break that happens if you order twice that amount. We can also fully customize how much and when people receive their food.
Okay. Now, when it does get shipped out to me, since you said it was frozen, is it like ice pack? What do you call it? The dry ice or something?
Oh, it's dry ice, which is, I think dry ice is awesome, but we've actually had people like think that we were sending them carbon monoxide.
No way, because it's all smoky, opens up.
Yeah, people. Yeah, it will. So you've got the sublimated CO2 that comes out if you put it in hot water. You get your bubbling witch's brew.
That's awesome.
But yeah, we ship with dry ice, and we ship in these cooler boxes where there are liners, sort of these insulated liners, and those are filled with post-consumer cotton straps, so denim and things like that have already gone through fabric recycling.
Oh, nice. Now, how long would it take for me to get an order? If I ordered one today, how long would it take to ship it out here?
So today is Monday.
Yeah.
If you were to order it before 10 a.m. tomorrow, it would ship from Nevada. We have warehouses in different places.
Okay, that makes sense.
Even though it's made in Long Beach, it would ship from Nevada. And it would get to you by Wednesday.
Oh, that's not bad at all. So if you're ever running a little bit low on your supply, then, it doesn't take a ton of time. And, look at that. You don't even have to leave your house to get food for your favorite little pooch.
That's it. Yeah.
Exactly. Although with the state of the world and the state of, everything and the natural disasters and all of that, we always tell people to plan ahead and to make sure that they have enough food in the event that something would happen or could happen. Because it's always better to be over prepared than under prepared.
What is the minimum amount you can ship, and what's the maximum amount you can ship?
Sure. The minimum amount we can ship is, we do these 4-pound samplers. So if people don't want to financially commit to a larger amount of food because they want to see if their dog likes it,
right? Of course,
you
makes
can
sense.
buy. Yeah, absolutely. You can buy a 4-pound, like a little sampler, and you can mix and match flavors. So say already that your dog doesn't do well with lamb. Fine, you just order you can order the 3 other flavors and you mix and match however you like that. So that's the least you can get, is those 4 pounds.
Okay.
The most you can get, well, if you want to order a pellet, we can talk about price
Well, where are you
breaks.
going to keep it in your freezer? I don't know. That's the thing. You have to have a freezer to keep it.
Exactly. We actually have a lot of customers who've invested in separate freezers just for their dog food.
No way.
I would totally
Yeah.
do that for my Clover. She's like my
Really?
best buddy in the world. If it was to
What
give
type
her-
of dog is Clover?
So Clover is, she's a specialty breed called a Habibi bear. She is a therapy animal for one of our children. So she specializes in working with children on the autism spectrum. And so she is small and,
Like a teddy bear.
yeah, she looks like a little teddy bear. So she looks a little bit like a miniature, like golden doodle, like a tiny version. She's only 9 pounds.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah.
Also cost effective for our food.
Yeah. So she is born and bred from an exclusive breeder up in the Seattle, Washington area. And very much like what you're talking about with food and nutrition, when the dogs are born, and they have a special method that they use to train them, very loving and caring environment, special type of food to make sure that they're getting the nutrition that they need. And so it's something that we really take care to look after, because we want her to have a nice, healthy, long life and to be able to bring the comfort to our family members that need her to be able to work effectively. And so she is just a super sweet puppy. And so
Sometimes.
she's always sweet to me.
I know. She's always good. Who's your favorite? You know what I'm saying?
She
So,
sounds great.
yeah, she is just a little doll. She looks like a dog version of a mini Chewbacca. So she's like brown and
Aw.
furry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially today. She gets groomed tomorrow. But definitely, dogs are, I never realized until I had Clover how much joy that they can bring to your life and how devastating it can be if you lose a pet. And so for anybody that's listening, if you are worried about the nutrition that your dog is currently getting, or you're wanting to, make healthier food decisions for your furry friends, then definitely look into Evermore Pet Food. And Hanna, I'm sure that you have a team that's ready to answer any questions if they go onto your website and ask about your product, right?
A very small team, and
Yes.
I would say we have one dedicated customer service. I call her a customer service ballerina because she's a former dancer. She's amazing. She is so knowledgeable. She is so responsive, and will help you personally customize whatever you need for your dogs. For your dog. So we're a very hands-on company. We're not one of those companies where you have to answer a million questions before they'll even tell you how much your food costs.
Yes.
We're very transparent about what our food is. You can find everything about it online. So
Nice.
if you reach out, you'll talk to a human being and not a chatbot.
Ooh, we love that. Well, thank you so much, Hanna, for being on the show today. Definitely, listeners, check out Evermore, and we wish you all the best of luck with your business.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for having me. This is really fun.
If you love music and podcasting, now you can have both. Introducing the brand new K2 radio station, available 24/7 on the Live 365 app for free.
Specializing in rock and alternative music, we're talking bands like Coldplay, Nirvana, Muse, Imagine Dragons, and yes, even the Rolling Stones. They have all stopped by to drop off songs, and we even have brand new popular tracks added every single day.
Also on the free K2 radio station, we are including podcasting. Get the best of both worlds. Download the free Live 365 app or listen online at live365.com and type in K2 Radio.
You know, Hanna was so great swinging by the studio today, and she actually dropped off some bags of dog food. Well, actually, not bags, they're like little frozen pouches of dog food for poor little Clover Bear to have.
Poor little Clover Bear. She is not a poor little Clover Bear. She got spoiled. And it was so funny because I was nervous about giving her some more like wet dog food because she typically has like the dry kibble. But you gave her a little bit.
My goodness.
You've been giving her little bits by little bits to introduce
like
it.
a small cup, probably like a quarter cup or half a cup size, you know? And I put it in her bowl, and that's the first thing she goes to, and she just eats that and leaves her dry stuff. She'll eventually eat the dry stuff too, but she just absolutely loves it so far. Don't you, Clover Bear? She's so excited. She sees me get the package out of the refrigerator, and she like watches me do it, and she's like, "Oh yeah, that's the good stuff, Dad." Now the stuff we got for Clover. It's Hanna.
It's the beef, right?
Yeah, she asked me which flavor do you want, and we chose the beef flavor for little Clover here, and she actually loved it. And Clover actually did say she wanted the beef flavor because
Clover does like that. So we have the Clover stamp of approval, approved Evermore Pet Food. That I guess if it's Clover approved, then you're good as gold, right?
Yeah, Clover loves it.
She does, absolutely. And so we really appreciated that, Hanna. Thanks so much for being so kind and generous and letting our little Clover Bear test it out before we aired the episode. She absolutely loved it so much.
Full belly she got
I
here.
know, right? She's so happy right now. She just had some. So, well, what else, Kris? What else is going on with us?
Well, we do have a Patreon page for all our lucky patrons out there. Now, if you want to hear the interview exclusively without any chit chat, straight to the content, straight to the interview, you can be a Patreon subscriber. But we don't only have paid stuff on there. You can check out our Patreon page for free. There are some free stuff I have put over there.
Oh, really? Is it like interesting stuff that people actually want to look at?
How did I know people want to look at? You know, what am I, mind reader now? Come on now.
Well, we definitely need you to hop on over to our Patreon and take a look at all of the different content.
Patreon.com/The Kris and Kristine Show.
And let us know if you like what you see, and if you want to see more, then subscribe. We promise it's all G-rated. It's not OnlyFans.
It's not only we're working on that. It's gonna be we're actually warming up to this. Is like
we were joking about having like a Kris and Kristine Show feet feed.
What? What are you talking about? That's something you were into.
Like to see feet, and I'm
they
like, that's
do?
so weird. Did I ever tell you that one time that I went to go to like a nail salon, and the lady that was doing my nails was like talking with some guy on FaceTime, and then she was like talking with him and he was watching her work, and then she had set her phone down, and I thought she was talking with him. She was filming my feet while she was doing the pedicure, and I was
she was just showing her work off.
No, I told her, I'm uncomfortable. Please hang that up. That's wrong. And I was like, how can I get out of here? But I only had like one toe painted.
Well, I would say like Patreon is like the gateway drug to OnlyFans.
No, that's so inappropriate. But hop on over there and check it out. And then where can our listeners find out more about Hanna and more about our show?
Well, we have all of our information will be in the show notes today for Hanna and our wonderful business and all that fantastic stuff. If you want to find out more about us and the Kris and Kristine Show, you can go to our website, which is krisandkristineshow.com.
And thank you so much for joining with us and sticking with this episode. We hope you learned something new and enjoyed our conversation with Hanna. And we'll be back with you
next week.